After messages, now let's focus on designing an event solution. In event solution, we are first going to talk about event hubs, which are nothing but a fully managed real-time data ingestion service. Event hub can literally process millions of events per second, and that's one of the biggest plus point. Compared to service bus, event hub is going to have extremely high bandwidth. And yeah, it is cost-wise also slightly more expensive. When you have event producers at the other end, event producers are those applications which will process. Event producers are those applications which are actually going to generate millions of events from that. These events are going to be sent to Azure Event Hub, which is always going to have multiple partitions inside that. The minimum partitions inside one event hub is going to be 2 and the maximum is going to be 32. You can choose this customization inside that, but whatever event you are storing inside that, the event and the event data will be stored inside these partitions. After that, we are going to have one or more consumer groups at the right side, which will pick the messages from each partition. Same like subscribers, here we have consumer groups. Whatever messages you are going to send in the event hub, those messages will be duplicated per consumer group. And then inside each consumer group, you can have multiple receivers which will receive that message which is associated with the event data, and then it is going to process that thing. In this case, this uses a pull model allowing multiple reads from the consumers, and that is why the communication is like that. This thin differences between message broker communication model and this pull model of Event Hub is going to make a big difference in your application architecture and in the execution of this multiple events which are getting generated with this. Scaling is controlled by how many throughput units you're going to process in this, or you also have something called processing units. When you go for the Event Hub, number of throughput units and number of processing units which you're going to purchase, based on that you're going to select the bandwidth. And as I mentioned already, it can go for millions of events per second. This is going to be the perfect use case where you have a real-time streaming data continuously coming into this, and you want to use Event Hub to handle that real-time data. Second service which we are going to focus in the event-driven solution is an Event Grid. Now, unlike Event Hub, Event Grid is just a routing service connecting data sources with event handlers. As I mentioned earlier, Event Grid is perfect for those kind of communications where suddenly some events are happening and you want to take an immediate action based on that. Obviously, looking at the diagram, we can see that at one end we are going to have event sources. These sources are actually those kind of services which will generate events now and then. Based on those events, we may be going to associate and route these things to Event Grid, and that depends on the topics associated with the event. Event handlers are going to react to this particular events at the other end, and there are chances that your event handlers are going to take some actions which can be written inside that logic inside that. And there are chances that event handlers are going to take actions based on these events, based on the whatever logic you have written inside that. This is useful for serverless application and operations automation. Most of the time when you're using Azure functions, when you're using logic apps, when you're using media services or Event Hub kind of things, you also have to use Event Grid with that to make sure that the process of this particular automation and the process of this event-based execution is going smoothly. This routing service is available to you based on the pay per operation or pay per use kind of a pricing models, and you have to focus on this, that which model is going to be perfect match with your requirement. Finally, once we know the message-based and event-based solutions, if we need to compare both of them, then we have this particular table and this diagram which is giving you the end-to-end analysis of that. If you see at the left side, we have Event Hub, which is maybe going to have association with some event sources, and it's going to generate the event associated with that. Whatever events which are going to be captured from the event hubs, this is going to be associated with Event Grid. Now in my case, you can see there is a storage account. The storage account is used for both the places. First one is it's going to capture the files from the storage account, and then it is going to associate with the event hub. After that, once Event Grid is going to capture that event, it's going to call an Azure function, which is going to be a trigger-based function. Whatever logic which is executed inside that function, that is going to retrieve the same file from the storage account. And based on the processing of that particular file, it is going to finally migrate the data into a SQL data warehouse, where the data is going to be permanently stored. This full process is showing you that we can combine multiple event-based solutions one after another, and we can create a logical flow with that. Now, In the below table, we are able to see this thing that most of the time, Event Grid is going to be focusing on the purpose of reactive programming, where the goal is actually event distribution. While Event Hubs are going to focus on big data pipelines, especially for the event streaming kind of thing. And then we have a service bus, which is used for high value enterprise messaging, where we want a very high throughput kind of messages should be delivered from one application to another application. And we have when to use kind of column, which is self-explanatory, so I'm sure you'll understand that. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. After the messaging and events kind of services which we have seen, we also have to discuss the IoT Hub. I'm sure you heard about IoT, which is Internet of Things, and this is an IoT Hub, which is a central message hub for IoT application and its attached devices. Whatever devices which are associated with IoT Hub are going to send messages to that. So you can see in the diagram, we have multiple IoT devices, which will be associated with some centralized cloud gateway, which we call IoT Hub. And then whatever Internet of Things kind of devices which are there are going to be sending messages and events data to this IoT Hub. Now, when to use IoT Hub, if that is your question, then the first thing is when your application is having a more complexity, you want to focus on the data throughput, you have devices which are continuously transmitting data, and you want a secure solution end-to-end, which is allowing per device kind of authentication, which can be doing communication in the bi-directional way. These are the scenarios where IoT Hub is going to be the perfect choice. Now, when you are going to compare IoT Hub with the Event Hub, there are some differences which can be there. So it can be having a capabilities over Event Hub like per device identity, file upload from the devices, device provisioning services, and that can be a possibility that based on these capabilities over the Event Hub, you are going to choose IoT Hub. If I focus on the diagram, the middle section is actually showing you inside section. In this case, IoT Hub can connect with some UI and reporting tools, some stream processing services like Azure Stream Analytics Service, or maybe some Azure storage kind of a data storage where we are going to store the data. Whether you're going to process the data, visualize data, or store the data, based on that you have to take certain actions also, which can be written in the logical format, either in Azure Functions or it's going to be mentioned inside Azure Logic Apps, which can be the part of your business integration.